more, right? Because I think at the end of the day, Web3 is here to stay. I'm 100% Web3 is here to stay. If not, I would cut my dick off, right? I think this is definitely here to stay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
GM. Welcome to the GM show. It's me, your host, Karen. If you're new to the show, you have to know the ABCs of the GM show is Asia focused, builder friendly, and most importantly, cool vibes only. And today is definitely cool vibes because we are having some special guests today. We are streaming live right now on X, YouTube, and Twitch. So show us some emoji love and comments below. As you can see, I am your host, your only host today. Casey is out of town, but we are bringing you a very special show right now because it's not just a personal interview today. I have a bunch of special guests coming up in just a minute. But first, let's hear a word from our chairman.
What is discussed on the GM show is not investment advice. We may or may not have ownership interests in the projects we are talking about, but this is not investment advice in any way, shape or form. And this is not Sir David Attenborough.
So I said today is a special episode of GM Show because we are going to talk about one of the biggest events this year in Hong Kong is ComplexCon. And it's not just an international lineup with artists from Asia and the US. This is also a 3-day cultural festival that brings fashion, art, music, and technology together with over 30,000 guests from coming all over the world to attend starting on March 22nd and 24th in Hong Kong for the very first time. So I'm very happy to have our guests today. We have 3 guests. First off, Bonnie Chan Wu, CEO of Complex China, Adrian Lai, founder of Newman Group, and long time no see on this show, Ray Chan, CEO of 9gag and Memeland. Morning, guys. What's up?
GM.
Yeah, guys.
What's up?
This is like a all-star lineup today. We are going to talk about this great cultural event. So I want to first off start with some history. Like maybe Bonnie can address this. Can you walk us through the history of ComplexCon and when and how it started?
Sure, of course. Well, thanks for having me, Karen, and so great to have Ray and Adrian sharing this session. Super exciting. History. So ComplexCon has had 7 editions already, and started in Long Beach, LA, for many years, and for one edition it was in Chicago since 2016. There was a little bit of disruption during the COVID period, but afterwards it just came back on bigger than ever. So it has always been a North American event, but of course it has always drawn crowds from around the world, with brands showing up, artists showing up, creators showing up, and in fact the Web3 community has participated pretty big way a couple of times as well, and so the history is history, but Hong Kong is the first time. It's day 1 for ComplexCon Hong Kong.
Awesome. We're so excited to have this experience in Hong Kong for the first time. But I want to know more about like what is that ultimate ComplexCon experience, because there's music show, there are like these big name artists coming in. It's music, fashion, art, and technology. So maybe both Bonnie and Adrian can also let us know a little bit like what to expect in this event.
Adrian, do you want to go first?
Oh, sure. I mean, I come from a perspective from a Hong Kong person to talk about this, because ComplexCon obviously has this very high standard in United States and first time outside of United States. I think when Bonnie and I started to talk about, she obviously had already had a grand plan, and when I started to get involved last year, I think middle of last year, the goal for me personally is really to have this such great event from an international standard to be in Hong Kong. Because Hong Kong, we never really has such a cultural event, at least I hadn't attended myself, with every kind of components involved, from fashions, music, to anything that's cultural related, entertainment related. I think Hong Kong people just deserve it, but not just Hong Kong people, but overall Asia, people flying in from mainland, from Southeast Asia. I think a lot of people actually flying in from Southeast Asia, and Bonnie can talk a lot about that. And I think that's the goal, to raise the cultural awareness in Hong Kong. After all, and from a Web3 perspective, we have too many Web3 specific events. And I know we are going to talk about how Web3 is connected with culture, specifically with race and Memeland support. But I think that side of things is also one of the goals, to make Web3 cultural as well.
Great. Yeah. What about Bonnie?
Oh, that's a really good intro to what can we all expect at ComplexCon. I think a lot of people would, the first thing they would think about would be sneakers and the fashion side of things. And we have always had a music component, but the most important, we're still on, right?
I'm just playing
the video. No, that's great. That's great. I think the important part, the part of ComplexCon is how it brings everything together. And it is the culture convergence that makes the event very, very special and unique. So people coming into the con, some might be coming for the sneakers, some might be coming for the music, and some people are just very curious and want to know what's next. And it is an event that is expertly curated by people in the industry, and the participants are creators in different space. So it could be a fashion designer, could be a sneakerhead, a sneaker collector, could also be a technology innovator. But the key is to be there, to meet, to network, and to do business together, to collaborate, and with all that chemistry of interesting people together in a room and presenting their collaboration, presenting their latest output. The audience gets to experience what's the coolest thing right now, what's next, and be able to participate, not just as a shopper, as a consumer, or as an audience in a concert, but they would feel the vibes, like you said, cool vibes only. They would feel that the vibes are very inclusive, that they're part of it. So it is very, very unique. And I think the Hong Kong edition is going to be even more special because of the regional diversity. And in fact, in Asia, we all know there's so many exciting things that have so much energy, which oftentimes is not really as visible in the media as some other international presentation. So we all know, like K-pop, it's a big force in entertainment. It is really bulldozing the entire music scene. And then Web3, in Hong Kong, this huge passion and really passionate community that are very innovative and very strong in community spirit. And Southeast Asia, so much interesting things happening there. And for one event to bring everybody together and to present collaboration, and for the rest of the community to be part of it, it's going to be very, very special.
Yeah, it's definitely very immersive because you're actually like experience like different brands and also like music at the same time. And it's like a 3 day spend of this whole experience. And I want to know like from your experience, like you guys are hosting a lot of events like throughout the year as well. What makes like a very successful cultural event from your point of view? Maybe Bonnie can answer first.
Well, we call it cultural because it is really, about the content, and also that culture is moving ahead. So you are seeing new things, new ideas, new concepts being tested. Some might be super successful, some might take a bit more time to mature, and that makes it just really fun, and a lot of stories come out of it, and stories make culture, stories make humans come together, and a lot of talking, a lot of conversations happening, a lot of conversations that you don't know what might spark out of each of those conversations. It could be a project down the road 3 years later. So culture is not just, it's not a bunch of paintings or some art installation and let's admire it together. It's not that. It's really people, community coming together and doing things together. And what I think what makes a culture event successful is bringing the communities together, and also bringing communities who don't usually meet each other to meet each other, to bring convergence into the public, and to spark new ideas and new concepts.
Awesome. What about you, Adrian? What do you think?
Well, so first of all, when I kind of struggle to tell people is ComplexCon is a conference before, because I don't really think it's a conference, because the traditional way of thinking about conference is you're going there to listen to speeches and look at booth, but ComplexCon is more about the cultural exchange between communities, as Bonnie mentioned, and from in my opinion, I think content is definitely a main part of the conference, but the creation of content is not just coming from just one person or one stakeholder, but instead is curated by multiple parties to make that happen, and such that the content could become the pioneer trigger for something really huge in the future. I think that's kind of my definitions of a culture from a ComplexCon perspective. But also at the same time, I think Bonnie is definitely right. She already highlighted every point for communities as well, and such as we are in our shoes, we are working with not just the brands that Bonnie introduced in a ComplexCon setting, but also the communities in Hong Kong from a Web3 and non-Web3 perspective to really come to the conference and to the event to experience what's happening around the booth, the music, and everything that. So to me, my brother told me he was going to line up for sneakers in the marketplace. So I think that's kind of proven that it's kind of the culture that everyone wants, instead of just coming for listening to people speak.
Awesome. The line of culture, we're all for it. What I also want to know, like, this is the first ever ComplexCon that's set outside of the US. So this is huge. Like, but why Hong Kong though? Like, I mean, there are so many different cities around the world that are also very fashion forward. Why Hong Kong this time? And is there any new exclusive stuff for Hong Kong? Maybe Bonnie can answer that. Yeah.
Karen. Great question. Well, Hong Kong is a very special place, and in fact has a long history in the culture community that ComplexCon's, I would say, the core community came out from. And if you look back at the pop culture history of Hong Kong, we have had decades of people in the entertainment business that has been very connected with the global street culture scene. So especially with the people in Japan, I think back in late 80s, early 90s. So some of the iconic people like Nigo, who are still super active right now, we're already doing business or collaboration with Hong Kong people maybe 20 years ago. So So Hong Kong is not strange to this scene at all in this region. This is first point. And secondly, for ComplexCon to think, where to land, well, everything starts with the community. So is there enough energy in this area, in Hong Kong or in Greater Bay Area or in China, and then all the rest of the neighboring countries? Is there enough energy here to bring such a massive event? And Hong Kong has such proximity with with all these communities in the region. Hong Kong is really, really a good place to land this. And of course, with the language, English is spoken and everything, it's a very natural choice for an international event to land. And I think what I found out as we landed this into Hong Kong, as we continue to build the content, I also see the benefit of being a place that is very welcoming visitors. Government is supportive, and also with a very, very strong entertainment scene around the region, that there is an audience for kind of everything here in Hong Kong. That makes this place, I think, a very, very good choice for ComplexCon.
So any new stuff for Hong Kong that is like kind of different from the US edition?
A lot. I mean, of course, in US, you would imagine that the content is a lot more US centric. A lot of the brands would be coming from the neighborhoods of ComplexCon in LA, and some would be flying from the East Coast and things like that. It's pretty long journey to travel to exhibit at ComplexCon LA for some of the Asian brands. There have always been a representation, but ComplexCon Hong Kong makes it a natural home and much easier for the Japanese, for the Koreans, and brands around here. And of course, for Hong Kong to host this, there are some very interesting Hong Kong local creators that are bringing their A game to ComplexCon Hong Kong. And also a lot of the music artists that would be would be harder for them to present in the US because of the audience preference. The audience just that might not have the critical mass of audience for, let's say, Chinese hip hop in the US. In Hong Kong, we have an exclusive night for just Chinese hip hop on Friday to kick off the festival, and then on Saturday night we have the Korean hip hop, which we all know in this region, the Korean music scene just sells tickets really quickly. So we have that exclusive night with the Korean flavor, and then on Sunday night it's more closer to what the original ComplexCon would look like in terms of the lineup. So more the international, or I would say the American hip hop big names coming on stage, which is 21 Savage.
Awesome. There's also a new part of, I guess, like in the marketplace, which is Web3. I also want to know a little bit more about like what is that role for Web3 that plays in the marketplace, and what is that Web3 event experience that people can expect in the complex?
Oh, I think her connection is bad.
Maybe Adrian or Ray can jump in, or is this recorded?
Recording. Yeah, I will talk about it.
Well, we can wait for her to come back.
Sorry, yeah. I'm back.
Adrian, can I ask the question again?
Sorry. Yeah. So, what is that Web3 experience that we can expect in the ComplexCon?
Well, I can start first, and probably if Ray, you have any supplement. I think when we started to think about Web3 in ComplexCon, is less about just having a party involved to demonstrate Web3, because Web3 could penetrate such a great event from different angles. So first of all, just starting from the ticket selling part, we actually working with NFT ticketing platform to start to sell NFT ticket. But instead of just having a ticket in an NFT format, we try to provide more benefit on the Web3 side to the people who buy the NFT ticket. I think that's the first part that we try to integrate Web3, because overall NFT ticketing has been quite a thing within Web3 events, but haven't been used in a mass adoption events, meaning for really everyday audience participating in such an event using NFT ticketing. But also, obviously, Ray and Memeland have a huge part that he can talk about later in terms of the experience. I had a glimpse for the productions document they have. It's always up to standard for what Memeland is doing. So I think people will be expecting a lot on that. But also, there is a section which is GOAT talk, GOAT talk, and traditionally, I think a lot of, not traditionally, but in US, a lot of fashions brands, designers, more from a creative angle, talk about, people talk about what they're doing, scenes they're looking at, or the cultural scene they're looking at in the space. And this year in Hong Kong, we have added a Web3 component there as well. And you'll listen to one of the most curated panels, if not more than one panel, talking about Web3. A very different conversation you would expect from other Web3 conferences because of the convergence of different ideas in ComplexCon. We are also announcing soon to kicking off official Web3 party on a Friday night, actually just before the Chinese concert, because of, you would expect a lot of communities, not just brands, but communities in Hong Kong to participate in that event as well. But there's more to come. We are also talking to multiple, actually traditional corporate, how we can also incorporate some Web3 ideas around that. So this is March 4th now. March now. I think we are going to have a 20 more days to figure it out and to provide the best experience.
She's gone again. Yeah, let's wait for her to come back, and then I can answer.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm back. What about you, Ray? What do you expect in this Web3 experience?
Bonnie mentioned that ComplexCon is a cultural event, right? And I think as a cultural event, it's basically a movement, right, that keep pushing the boundary. And I think honestly, when we see what Web3 has been doing these days, right? I mean, this year it's like a great year for Web3 again, right? Because like BTC ETF is approved, people are talking about ETH ETF, and then price is hitting all-time high. And for example, like Hong Kong government is pushing Web3. It makes a lot of sense for the pioneer of like a faction cultural events, right, to integrate the pioneer of tech, right, which is like blockchain, which is like Web3, crypto, NFT, and it's like a perfect match together. And I think Hong Kong is a good place to do that because the government is very supportive and the Web3 development on one hand, and also on the other hand, it's okay. People also kind of love Web3 in Hong Kong as well. You don't see that much, I would say, hate, right, regarding NFT, because people love to buy like expensive JPEGs in Hong Kong, just like how they love to buy sneakers in Hong Kong. And I think people find a lot of like common grounds when they see Web3 and also I would say complex and also like cultural events together. As Adrian mentioned, right, it's not just I mean, Web3 is not just about money, right? But it's also about how can we use this kind of new technology to push different categories, different topics forward. And I think ComplexCon would be a good venue for us to demonstrate, okay, how Web3 can be fun, how Web3 can be part of like every industry, instead of just talking about, okay, this is like a finance or financial stuff. Yep.
Awesome. So what are we expect to see in the marketplace? Because we've been talking about the marketplace for a bit now. Any sneak peek for us? Maybe Bonnie can start with this question.
Well, like everyone would expect, there are some very rare sneaker drops. So you can expect some very rare, very collectible Air Force One, SB Dunk. And I don't need to list out all the names, but very exciting things that are brought to the marketplace from the creators. and then very exclusive fashion items. Our own official merchandise, of course, is designed by Verdi himself, and there will be collaboration between Verdi and other big names. We can also expect some art that are from artists in the region and also from the US, very collectible, and some have a local flavor added to it with the Hong Kong culture scene. So yes, a lot of I would say names, collectibles, and all that. And of course, I'm super excited about the Web3 component. We have always had the Web3 communities included in the show. So in the States, we there were participants like Artifact, Coinbase in the US edition, and Hong Kong. Super excited about Memeland being part of this. And like Adrian just mentioned, the booth is very exciting. It looks really fun, and I think participants coming in would feel that it's inclusive. It's just everyone can take part and have a good experience that is unexpected, and so I think those things all add up together. That it's not just about shopping, it's not just about lining up, but you also can have fun and be very, very curious and discover new things as you walk through the marketplace. And of course, there's a really strong food component as well, where you can rest a bit and also network and meet people. And DJ plays music throughout the day, and there are some great panels. And of course, looking forward to the Web3 panels, as well as panels on sneakers, on culture, on art, and the rise of Korean pop culture, and also panels on very rare topics like if you're we have a session from lawyers in the sneaker business. So even lawyers would find a topic that is relevant to them. If you might be an M&A lawyer, but how about becoming a sneaker lawyer? So things that are very, very very exciting and fun, but also kind of unexpected in a conference or a festival like this. So I think it's a lot of freshness that people can expect at the marketplace.
Okay, we will talk about the Memeland booth in just a minute. Maybe Adrian can talk about the Web3 area. What is there? What other brands are participating in the marketplace?
So, well, we have obviously Memeland support, but another big supporter is another Hong Kong company, Animoca, which I think mainly because I think gaming is also a huge part of culture and entertainment. So obviously Memeland's come from a different perspective. Anything fun, I think Ray is going to talk about that. But we have not just the bigger companies. I consider Memeland and Animoca the bigger players in the space, but we also have NFT marketplace that we're going to disclose soon in how they could participate. How would they participate in ComplexCon? But I actually just received my update from my team yesterday. In the official party, there's gonna be a huge announcement from a major NFT blue chip. Actually, during the ComplexCon official Web3 party is the first announcement of what's going to happen. So I'm very excited about that as well. Actually, I don't know what that is. So hopefully, I guess Bonnie and I are still trying to not to talk too much from exactly what's happening for a ComplexCon and trying to keep it more unexpected for you guys.
Great teasers. I want to know from Ray then. I mean, obviously, I know about the floor plan of the booth. Ray, maybe you can let us know what to expect there.
I mean, honestly, I think I share at GM Show a few times. I'm kind of like an introvert. I really hate going to events. Right? That's why that's why when Adrian and also Bonnie reach out to us, and they say, hey, ComplexCon is coming to Hong Kong. Actually, I think Adrian talked to me about like ComplexCon coming to Hong Kong. I think Q4 last year, right? Yeah, around that time, Q4 last year, right? And he said, "Hey, Ray, this is huge, right? But keep it confidential, right?" And that was like, oh, huh, interesting, right? Because I mean, I don't follow that many faction related account on Instagram. There are only like 3 accounts that I follow. Number 1 is like Complex. Number 2 is like a High Beast. Number 3 is like Caseify, right? High Beast and Caseify. I know both their founders, right? So I follow them. I like their content as well. And then for Complex, I was always like, okay, it's interesting, right? But it's so far away. Right? I wouldn't really travel like to another country, right? Just to visit a conference, right? Because I don't even want to go to our own events in another country, right? But when we know that, okay, ComplexCon is coming to Hong Kong and there will be some Web3 element, and then we believe that, okay, maybe this is our responsibility as a Web3 company to try to do something in Hong Kong at the event. Because we talk about Web3 all days, it's all about like blockchain, NFT, crypto and stuff. It's like kind of like boring stuff. How can we actually bring it like a fun experience to the audience and make them feel, okay, Web3 is more than just money, right? It's actually can be everything. It's actually about the application. It's actually about the fun as well, right? So so we try to figure out how can we recreate or how can we create an experience that is fun, so that, okay, we may not be selling you sneakers, right? We may not be bringing you cool artists, right? But you can bring back some good memories, right? Home, right? After you visit our booth. That's the whole, I would say, requirement when we talk to our teams to figure out what we want to do at the conference, right? And that's number 1. Number 2 is how can it be related to Memeland and Web3, and how can we grab this chance to introduce Memeland and also Web3 to the bigger audience? Because at the end of the day, we can't really develop or push Web3 forward when we only talk to it to all our friends online. Right? At the end of the day, we need to have some like offline element. We need to have the so-called quote unquote like normal people to understand more about what Web3, what Memeland is about. So this is the second part is, okay, how can we bring some, I would say, educational and also fun element into it, right? So we try to bring the whole experience into more like I would say competition, more like a game, right? Instead of, okay, you come to our booth and then you just buy something and then you just have to watch a video and watch some show and stuff. Yeah, and I would say that can be quite unique experience, right? Because Memeland always try to be the funniest guy, right, in an event, and also funniest token or funniest project, right, in Web3. So that's something that we want to do at ComplexCon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out because you can create some amazing content with the booth. I'm not going to tell you what's on the booth, but there's also a merch section for it. So it's not just like experience, but also there's shopping, there's something to see. And hopefully you guys can come check out and take some great photos and videos. Here I want to talk about like Web3 and culture, right? So why, especially Adrian and Ray, why is it important for the Web3 industry to go into these events and really be in the eyes of like consumers? Like what's the Web3 role in there?
Ray,
Yeah, I can start first, right? I mean, I started to buy NFT about like 2 to 3 years ago. And then I go to quite a lot of like NFT events, including our own Memeland community events, and also quite a few like conferences related to Web3, crypto, NFT. One question is that I have is, hey, if we only go to Web3 events to talk about Web3, then how can we expand the audience? How can we expand the community? Right? Because at the end of the day, people who go to those events, they are already taking the initiative. They are already pretty active in Web3. So somehow, if we really want to grow the pie, make the pie bigger, we actually have to go out of our comfort zone, talk to people who are not yet into Web3, right? But at the same time, we show them how cool, how fun, how interesting Web3 is. That's why it's important to go to a non-Web3 events to talk about Web3. But then, what are some non-Web3 events that is like cool enough, that is like I would say advanced enough, where people will actually pay attention to the new thing instead of, okay, this is like some scammy stuff, right? Yeah, because when there's misunderstanding, people will always assume that, okay, this is just a scam. So when we look at the audience overlapping, right, we can see that a lot of people who are buying crypto NFT, they are actually the younger generation. Right? And when we look at the audience of like ComplexCon, it's also the majority is the younger generation as well. Because the teenagers, right, the youngsters, they're the one who are more, I would say, rebellious, who are more like disruptive, right? And that's why it's almost like a perfect match when we look at just the audience. Right? And on the other hand, uh, most of the Web3 stuff happens online, right? We talk about like infrastructure, blockchain all day, but how can it be applied to like real life? How can it be applied to our daily life? I think those are the questions that a lot of Web3 projects they haven't really answered. That's why we believe that okay, if we can bring it into people's life, maybe people will understand it more. That's why by going to a so-called non-Web3 events, it's something that can be up and forward, right, to the bigger audience, and not to mention, right, by riding on the cool brand of like ComplexCon, people will probably think Memeland is cool, right, and then Animoca is cool, Newman is cool, right, and it's almost like some old guy trying to go to a young guy's party, right? Hey, we are the cool guys, right, and stuff like that. Yeah, but I think jokes aside, I think the key part is it's about the I would say that the same audience, right? But different aspect, different boundary that we are trying to push. For Web3 guys, it's almost like, okay, we have to go out of just like a tech disruption, right? Meanwhile, for Complex, right, I believe that it's also okay. Tech is everywhere, right? And right now at the frontier, there are like two kind of like tech movement, or maybe like three, right? Number one is like AI, right? Number two is probably like personalized medicine, right? And then like genome medicine and stuff like that. And then number three is probably crypto, right? So it's almost like a perfect match. Yeah.
What about you, Adrian? Why is it so important for Web3 to come into these events?
Well, I think first of all, Web3 itself supposedly should have the concept of decentralization and supposedly should be a cultural thing, right? Because we entered an industry when it was, I entered industry really because of the nature of decentralization and not just about the money part. Obviously, money is very important as well. But I think when I started to talk to Bonnie and when she told me that Web3 probably is one of the bigger things for her as well, I think I got so aligned because I thought over the past several years, Web3 wasn't that cultural, to be honest, and a lot of minting, a lot of just trading crypto, and when we step back a bit from this daily trading, what is the important part of making Web3 culture? Why is it important to make Web3 cultural again? And so when you think about really the culture part, whether it's Web3, Web2, or Web1, I think intrinsically is all about music, entertainment, fashions, is a core and fundamental of culture. So making Web3 cultural again and having something like ComplexCon, I think is pretty natural and straightforward. And I kind of agree with Ray, and because when we think that Web3 is not cultural, is like having some old guys coming to a young person party, because we are trying to make Web3 cultural, and by having some of the best Web3 brands to showcase how we can do it, and by with extension of ComplexCon, how we can let other brands beyond Memeland, Animoca, and others to think about, hey, actually, we should think more about culture, integrating with the Web2 space, music, entertainment, instead of just talking about shielding about their own tokens and NFT and whatnot. So to me, it was the whole objective of integrating between the cultural side and entertainment side, music, fashion with the Web3 projects. But obviously, Ray touched on a point as well in terms of adoption, because now if a founder haven't thought about the cultural side, they wouldn't really think about integrations with real life scenarios, because they just don't get it in terms of sneakers, music. It wouldn't even think about air ticketing in a concert, right? So I think it is just a beginning to connect both sides, because I know it's kind of abstract when we always talk about connecting culture on both sides. But I think the end goal is really about having these Web3 companies adopting practice from the traditional space and to create new ideas of products or projects which cater to all audience, and not just the Web3 audience. And the Web2 audience will also love it and think it's fun to play around with this new products. And that's sort of where I'm coming from when we just started to talk about culture and Web3.
Awesome. So making the cool kids, like making like a Web3 into cool kids again, right? So I want to hear.
Yeah, our internet is not very stable.
Sorry. So I want to hear from Bonnie and Adrian. What are the 3 words that you would describe ComplexCon Hong Kong this year, so that people can have like that expectation? And just to summarize what we were just talking about.
Well, for me, I think first thing that comes to mind is massive. It is a massive event at scale. So not anything smaller than the US version. In fact, it's a bigger version of it. We have 3 nights of concert, massive audience coming from around the region, and actually a lot coming from the US as well. Another word is diversity. So a lot of cultures and different communities are coming together. And when I was listening to what Ray and Adrian were sharing, I think one of the ways to think about culture is being long-term. So this is people coming together, building connections, and the diversity would make it very interesting, because you meet people from communities that you don't usually meet, and you have conversation, and you have a shared common experience. And the third word would be inclusivity. So again, these communities are all very passionate communities, like the sneaker community or the basketball community or the Web3 communities, but oftentimes they operate within themselves, and they might not try to be exclusive, but it is quite exclusive. It's pretty hard to just insert oneself into other people's community. But ComplexCon is an open platform, so we are expertly curated to find the best content in different communities, but at the same time we're inclusive of different passionate communities amongst the youth, so that we believe when people come together, they find the fun, the excitement, and the opportunity to, like what Ray was saying, pushing boundaries and keep the culture moving forward by doing exciting new collaborations. So I think those 3 words: massive, diversity, and inclusivity.
Great. What about you, Adrian?
Well, my 3 words are simple. The first word is new. I think it is it's not that ComplexCon is a new conference, but it's a new kind of experience for Hong Kong people. And I think it is something that Hong Kong people never experienced before in terms of experience attending a conference from Bonnie mentioned about this DJ for all day. At least I never attended a conference you have DJ with all day, which connects to the second word is chill. I think it is, obviously the whole team of Bonnie and has put so much effort in this conference, but I expected throughout the conference is very chill for you to navigate different sessions. My team has been asking me on whether I would include the 3-day ticket, everything for them from day to night. You don't expect actually an employee to wanting to go to a conference over a weekend for work. So I think it definitely, because they feel it's chill and exciting, that's why they want to go to it. I echo on the word. I echo on what I said just now. It is very struggling for me to always say it's a conference, because conference is a very standardized word in kind of being, when you go there, it's kind of passive. right? You listen to people saying what they want to say on the panel. But I think one of the reasons is chill because it's going to be an interactive experience. You're going to go there, look at Memeland's booth, kind of, if you want to buy stuff, you want to buy it. If you want to just get experience, you go for it, right? And the third word is really surprising. And why I say it was surprising is because I think Bonnie will agree as well. Everything happening in the preparation time actually surprised us as well. Surprised ourselves as well, because there's so much happening and dynamic during the preparation process. And I mean that in a good way, in a positive way, because the whole team is trying to create not just the best 3 days of concert per se or experience per se. We are trying to prepare the best content, and content always is difficult. Comes from curation from not just the Complex team, but also artist, designer, to go through a very strict process to create the content to deliver to the audience. So with that, there's gonna be surprise, not just from a delivery perspective, but from a preparation perspective as well. So I myself feel kind of expecting the unexpected every day. So I think the surprising will be the third word for me.
Yeah,
I
this
also-
is like
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. I want to add on, right? I also have, I mean, after talking to like Adrian and also Bonnie about ComplexCon in Hong Kong, I feel like there are the three works, right? For me, I would say like creators, right? Because Adrian and Bonnie, they are bringing all types of like cool creators, right, into the event. Right? And at the same time, a lot of like content creators, they will also go to the event to create more content, right? So this is almost like they they take the lead and also try to create a lot of like new kind of content, right? That's number one. It's like creator. Number two is of course like culture, right? It's about fashion culture, it's about sneaker cultures. It may be about like Web3 cultures, right? How we can bring all this culture together. I think this is a very, very interesting, I would say, probably the only events that can really do it, right? Because if you talk about fashion at a Web3 event, people will think, okay, you're too cool to get into our events, right? Because when you look at like Vitalik, right, definitely he's not the fashion icon that you want, right? So somehow I think culture is very unique, right? At ComplexCon, right? That's the second word, which is the second C, and then the third part would be I would say community, right? Because it's not just okay, you talk about what you like online, right? You actually can come to an event, meet real people, right? Maybe have parties, maybe listen to cool music, maybe going to concert. I think all this kind of stuff is very rare at a so-called quote unquote conference, right? And I think these three C's is actually very, very unique to ComplexCon. And I believe that with Adrian's help, with Bonnie's help, I think that can be a brand new experience, not just to Hong Kongers, right? But more like to global visitors who coming to Hong Kong just for the ComplexCon. Yeah.
Amazing. So if you're in Hong Kong or you're in Asia or around the world, are we still able to get tickets? The 3-day tickets are sold out right now, but you can still get your tickets at cityline.com. Am I right, Bonnie?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They're going fast though, especially the more expensive ones. I think we're very, very few left.
Awesome. So happy to have you guys. We're super excited to see all people coming into Hong Kong end of March and into this beautiful event. So I'm really happy to have you guys. And thank you so much for joining the show. We are live on Thursday every morning. So we will see you again next week.